What's up, everybody? It's your girl, Morgan Bailey. How you guys doing? It's a new video. Whether you guys are new or not new, welcome to or welcome back to my channel. So, today is a little bit different. As I mentioned in my last video about how I had a little bit of a request. This video was a requested video. The previous one was not. So this one was actually supposed to come first. But I didn't film it because I wasn't ready. I didn't have everything set up. So I'm going to be ranking college football teams. Now, just a disclaimer that I don't know all of these. And these are like, this isn't just because, based off of how good they are necessarily. I mean, maybe. Might have something to do with it. But it's not like that's the biggest thing. You know what I mean? So I have all of the different college teams. I put the leagues, I guess you could say. And then there's one where I have two favorites. Only because I have family members who actually served in these branches. So that kind of gives it away. That's a branch one. And it's torn, and I always love seeing it. But yeah. So we're going to just rank these now. I'm sorry if I offend anyone, but this is based off of just how much I like the teams. It might have to do, some of them do have to do with how well they play. Others, it's just some I don't know. So that's oh, you were more towards the bottom, or I like this team a little bit more, or whatever. So we're going to jump in before I waste any more time. Starting with the AAC. So this is the one where I have two. That is the Army and the Navy. Because my dad served in the Army and my grandpa served in the Navy. And actually when they play each other, it becomes a really fun type thing at my dad's. And it's just a really fun thing. The biggest thing is because of my family serving in these branches, but also because I've seen them play. They're not terrible. Neither of them are terrible. But they're not the best either. Army and Navy actually coincidentally were the top two, ranking wise too. So that was kind of funny. So yeah. And then my least favorite, only because one, it was the last, and two, I don't really know this team too well, is the University of Alabama at Birmingham, so UAB for short. Like I said, this is not because, I have anything against them. I just don't really know this team too well, and they were ranked last in the actual, standings, so, when I did, this list, so knows they could change. So that's it for the AAC. Now moving on to the ACC. So my favorite, because I have seen this team a little bit, and that is Miami, Florida. I've seen them play a little bit. They're actually pretty good. I think they ranked number 2 in the standings. I believe they were definitely in the top 5. So, yeah, and then Wake Forest, only because I've never heard of them before. They were the main one that I've never heard. They were more towards the bottom, but they weren't last or anything in the standings. So, only because I don't know them too well, they're not my favorite, okay? Moving on to the Big 12. My favorite that I put in here is Oklahoma State, because I kind of want to go to Oklahoma. It seems like a great state. And they just seem like a good team, I guess, based on the standings. And I put Iowa State as my least favorite because I have some problems with Iowa as a state itself. So, yeah. So that's that. Now, Ohio State, I'm not Ohio State. Iowa State was I don't think there's like anything wrong necessarily with their football team, but I've never really seen them play, so I don't 100% know how they do. I don't remember how the rankings were either. So, yeah. And moving on to Conference USA, I put Liberty as my favorite and Kennesaw State as my least favorite. I don't know either of these teams. I just picked two random teams to put on here. I have no idea how well they play or how poorly they play. So this one was just kind of like, well, okay, I just throw it out there. Moving on to the Big Ten, my favorite, obviously my home, Michigan. And I'm sure some people are probably going to guess what my least favorite team is based on what I told you my favorite team is. If you know anything about Michigan football, you know our biggest rivals are Ohio State. So they are definitely my least favorite. So, yeah, Michigan, go blue, 100%. Wolverines we were national champions this last year. So, we're rebuilding, okay? We lost our coach, Harbaugh. We lost so many great players because they graduated. So we're rebuilding, but we're not terrible. So we won against Michigan State yesterday. So yeah, it wasn't the best we've done, but definitely still a win. So that'll do it. In the FBS Independents, I picked Notre Dame as my top because growing up with half of my family rooting for Notre Dame and being Notre Dame fans, I've come to love the Fighting Irish, honestly. So, yeah. And then University of Massachusetts, I just never really seen them play, and they were more towards the bottom. And, yeah, I don't really know how they play. So, yeah. Next in the MAS league is Western Michigan University. I put that as my favorite because, again, that's close to home. It's in my home state. It's actually not too far from me, actually. And they are a pretty good team. The Broncos are definitely pretty good. I'm actually considering them for a university for maybe my bachelor's degree or a backup for my medical degree. So, and then as my least favorite because, with it being an Ohio team, it's literally Ohio. That is my least favorite. I don't like Ohio. So all of my people who live in Ohio, you know how it is. So in the MW League, I put New Mexico as my favorite because my uncle used to live in New Mexico, and I'm sure they're a fairly decent team. And then I put Air Force as my least favorite because, come on, Air Force. They were actually at the bottom. Nothing against, like, the Air Force. No, I'm actually very thankful for the Air Force. So thank you to all who serve in that branch. But the team. Anyway, moving on to the PAC 12. Oregon State, I just kind of like the state of Oregon, I guess. And it was higher, like it was actually ranked lower, but I don't like Washington in general, so I don't like Washington State either. Because we actually played Washington in the national, at the national playoffs. And, I mean, Michigan won, obviously. That's how we got the national championship, so, yeah. So, Washington State, come on. And then in the SEC, I put Kentucky because the biggest reason for them is not so much their football team, but actually their cheer team. They are like the best in the nation. I feel like there's a fly in this room, but I'm sorry if there's a fly in the room. Sorry for any of that. So, but Kentucky is really good, and yeah, I also have an aunt who lives there, and I love her so much. And then Mississippi State. I believe it is. Let me double check. Yeah, Mississippi State. That's what I thought. Okay. I was double checking myself that I wasn't forgetting what I was talking about. Yeah. So Mississippi State, it was more towards the bottom anyways, and yeah, so that's going as my least favorite. On to SBC. There's actually East and West. So let's do the East first. I only like this one as the top because I like Georgia a bit better than really anything. It's a really good state. I like it. It's a pretty state. So I put Georgia State as my favorite and App State as my least favorite. I don't really know these two teams again, so I don't know 100% how well they do. I know that I tried to do based off their rankings, sort of, if I didn't really know them or anything like that. But like I said at the beginning of the video, this isn't 100% based on how they play, but also how much I like the team or whatever, or what sounds better to me. So it is 100% based on you're better at football than this team. A bunch of it is I like this team better or whatever, because I don't know, I just seem to like the state, or I like this or that about it. So then App State, I've never really heard of them, so I don't know. I put them as my least favorite only because I don't really know them, but I'm sure they're a pretty good team. And then in the SBC West, I put South Alabama as my favorite because, again, Alabama is also a good state. I've been there actually. I've been there once, but we were driving through. But it was a decent state, and I like it. So, yeah. And then my least favorite only because I don't really know, again, about Troy. I've never heard of it before, so that's my least favorite, I guess. But yeah, so that's that. Let me know your guys' thoughts in the comments down below. Where would you rate teams in these different leagues? What would be your favorite? What would be your least favorite? Maybe a little description of why. I try to be as descriptive as possible, but some were just because I like the state, or this is where they ranked or whatever. So let me know if you disagree with any of these and where would you put them. So yeah, let me know in the comments down below. I am so excited to read your comments. And as always, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on post notifications if you haven't already, so you don't miss my next upload and other future uploads. And I will see you guys in the next video. Bye, everyone.